What if the person sitting right next to you, your childhood best friend, the one whose name is tattooed on your face, was actually planning to end your life? Or worse, what if you were the one planning to end theirs? This is not a movie. This is not fiction. This is the darkest and most twisted true crime story to ever come out of the rap industry. And before this video is over, you're going to question everything you thought you knew about loyalty, fame, and the price of success. It's 3 a.m., October 26th, 2018. A car rolls into the emergency room of a hospital in Miramar, Florida. Behind the wheel is a 19-year-old rapper named YNW Portland, and in the seats beside him, two of his closest friends, both riddled with gunshot wounds, both pronounced dead shortly after arrival. The world would be told this was a drive-by shooting, a tragic accident.
Clouds to start us off here. Temperatures stay in high 40s. Tomorrow's forecast will be in the 60s. Reaches stay around 62.
Wrong place, wrong time. But the police knew something was very wrong, and at the center of it all was one name, YNW Melly, one of the most promising young rappers in America. A kid with a golden voice, millions of fans, and a song called Murder on My Mind that had already gone viral worldwide. Welcome to the Dark Zone. Today we are going deep into one of the most shocking celebrity true crime cases of our generation. Stay with us, because this story has more twists than you can imagine. Before we talk about the murders, you need to understand where Melly came from, because his background is key to everything that followed. Melly's real name is Jamal Demons. He grew up in Gifford, Florida, described as the poorest community in the entire state. His mother had him at just 14 years old. Yes, his father was largely absent, and from the very beginning, the streets were raising him faster than any parent could. At just 9 years old, Melly found a real gun at his uncle's house, a .22 revolver. And instead of being afraid, he was fascinated. He carried that gun everywhere, even to school. By the time he was in 7th grade, he was selling drugs and bringing knives to school. Things escalated until one day he pulled a knife on a fellow student and threatened to hurt both her and himself. He was sent to a mental institution for 7 days. This is important because Melly himself has openly talked about having bipolar disorder, ADHD, and what he described as multiple personalities. The two most known? Melly, the happy, loving side, and Melvin, the dark, dangerous side that comes out when someone pushes him too far. At 16, he was arrested for firing a gun at 3 students near his school. He told police he was retaliating because someone had stolen his gun. This landed him in juvenile prison. But even behind bars, something remarkable was happening. Melly was creating music, beating on his chest for rhythm, freestyling in his cell. And that raw talent would eventually change everything. When Melly was released in late 2016, he dropped a song called 772 Love, dedicated to the local area code. It went viral almost immediately. Then came Murder on My Mind, a haunting melodic trap song that he said came to him while locked up, tapping into his dark alter ego, Melvin. The song eventually racked up over 700 million views on YouTube. And the tragic irony? Most people thought the song was made after the murders. It wasn't. He wrote it years before. Around Melly was a tight crew called YNW, Young N-Word World. 5 core members, 5 close friends, 5 people who had built something together from nothing. Among them, YNW Juvie, Melly's childhood best friend from the same housing complex in Gifford, YNW Sack Chaser, older, outspoken, originally from Atlanta, and the self-declared kingmaker behind the YNW brand, YNW Portland. The quiet one. The driver. The one who would later become Melly's alleged partner in crime. Together they toured Florida, shot music videos, and were on the verge of becoming massive. Melly even signed with major label 300 Records. A collaboration with Kanye West was in the works. The dream was becoming real. But behind the scenes, something dark was brewing. As Melly's fame grew, so did the tension inside YNW. And the person at the center of that tension was YNW Sack Chaser. Sack Chaser saw himself as the real architect of YNW, the one who built the brand, the one who gave Melly his style, his sound, his lane. His personal motto was lead, never follow, and he had it tattooed on his body. But as Melly's star rose, Sack Chaser felt he was being left behind. Text messages from August 2018, just weeks before the murders, show Sack Chaser aggressively telling Melly that he and Juvie were the CEOs of YNW, while Melly was just the face. He claimed Melly was rapping like Wiz Khalifa before his influence changed him. And the money? There was allegedly a $500,000 licensing deal on the table. Melly would get $200,000, Sack Chaser $200,000, and Juvie only $100,000. But according to those close to the group, Sack Chaser also wanted a separate $200,000 directly from Melly's label advance. His own mother confirmed that just days before his death, Sack Chaser called her in tears because he realized he was probably never going to see that money. Then came the physical confrontation. Reports say that just 2 days before the murders, Sack Chaser, who was physically much bigger than Melly, beat Melly up in front of his own girlfriend. And there were even darker allegations. Claims that Sack Chaser was sexually abusing Melly. During police interrogation, a close YNW affiliate described a disturbing FaceTime call where Melly was crying and kept repeating, "Y'all don't know what Sack was doing to me." Whether or not all of these allegations are true, what is clear is that by October 2018, something between Melly and Sack Chaser had completely broken down. Yeah, and what followed would shock the entire music industry. Late October 2018, the YNW crew headed to a recording studio in Fort Lauderdale called New Era. According to witnesses, tension was even present that very night, with reports that either Sack Chaser or Juvie had dissed Melly during a rap session in the studio. Around 3:20 a.m., they left in 2 cars. The group splits up, some in a red Mitsubishi, others in a gray Jeep. In the gray Jeep, Bortland driving, Sack Chaser in the front passenger seat, Juvie in the back behind him, and Melly in the left rear seat, directly behind Bortland, directly beside Juvie. The red Mitsubishi headed back to their gated community, but the gray Jeep, it took a completely different route, heading to a dark, secluded stretch of road with no streetlights, far from any witnesses. And what happened next is alleged to be calculated and cold. Sack Chaser and Juvie were shot and killed. The car was then shot several more times from the outside to make it look like a drive-by. Then Bortland drove the bodies to the emergency room. Meanwhile, Melly allegedly got out of the car and made a FaceTime call to his girlfriend, telling her they had been victims of a drive-by shooting. He then contacted rapper Fredo Bang to come pick him up, but the police weren't buying it, not even a little. When investigators examined the crime scene, Bortland's story fell apart instantly. Police canvassed miles of road where the supposed drive-by happened, and found zero evidence of any shooting there. No shell casings, no witness reports, nothing. Then came the security camera footage from the studio, which showed a 5th passenger in the gray Jeep that Bortland had never mentioned. That passenger was Melly. Phone data then placed Melly's phone inside the vehicle at the time of the murders and tracked the car's route to the actual location of the shooting. But the most damning piece of evidence, a single shell casing found inside the vehicle, on the left rear passenger side, the exact seat Melly was sitting in, the exact position from which forensic experts say the fatal shots were fired. On February 13, 2019, both Melly and Bortland were charged with first-degree murder. 4 years later, in June 2023, the trial finally began, and it was a spectacle. After 19 days of testimony and over 14 hours of deliberation, the jury was deadlocked. A mistrial was declared. 3 jurors refused to convict on first-degree murder. The prosecution was heavily criticized. A detective was caught allegedly asking another officer to lie about being present at a search warrant. The lead prosecutor was eventually removed from the case. The murder weapon was never found. No eyewitnesses placed the gun in Melly's hand, and one witness even testified that Melly left the car before the shooting happened. Now heading into a 2027 retrial, things have shifted again. Bortland took a plea deal in September 2025, avoiding murder charges but pleading no contest to lesser charges. Many believe he is set to testify against Melly, but Bortland's own lawyer says he will not cooperate. Melly has also brought in one of America's most powerful defense attorneys, Drew Findling, known as the billion-dollar lawyer, who has represented clients including Donald Trump and Cardi B. The witness tampering charges that had been hanging over Melly's head for nearly 2 years were suddenly dropped, just before jury selection was about to begin. A move that many legal experts called a win for the defense. So here we are, over 7 years since 2 young men lost their lives in the back of a car. Melly has spent most of his 20s behind bars, without a conviction. His career frozen, his future uncertain. Did YNW Melly kill his 2 best friends over money, power, and pride? The evidence is heavy. The motive is clear. But in America, you are innocent until proven guilty. And as the first trial showed, proving guilt is not always as simple as having the evidence. One thing is certain. The story of YNW Melly is the perfect example of what happens when fame, and street life, and true crime collide. And here at the Dark Zone TV, this is exactly the kind of story we exist to tell. If this video opened your eyes, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment below telling us what you think. Did Melly do it? And turn on your notification bell because we are just getting started. The Dark Zone TV, where fame meets crime.